Hello, this is Kev.
And Lil. We're discussing relationships in all of its forms and everything in between.
We've been together close to 30 years. We've seen some things together and apart.
So if you want to laugh or need advice, come and spend some time with Kev and Lil.
Have
Have
we
we
met?
met?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So, today we're discussing emotional immaturity. Something near and dear to my heart because it just seems that we're coming across this more and more often, especially in the workplace. I mean, honestly, everywhere. Honestly, everywhere. I can tell you that I've probably had a bit of it myself. Definitely when I was younger. Very detached. It's funny how I can look back and think to myself, hey, yeah, I just wanted to say what I wanted. I just wanted to hear what I had to say, virtually. And looking back at that, I'm going, man, was I a dummy? And and then fast forward a few years or a number of years, and I work with certain people, or not even work with them, or just people I've come across, and you know, it, yeah, they can be considered narcissists as well. Don't get me wrong. Um, definitely toxic behavior, and all those key words that you're hearing nowadays. And I know one person in particular that I worked with, and it was, they would come into my office and they would spew whatever and tell me, and then they'd give me the line of, oh, I'm just looking out for you, and then I'd turn to them and I go, well, and then when I would try to rebut or just give my opinion on something, they'd be on their phone, and I'm standing there going, are you serious right now? You just spoke and spoke, and when I finally wanted to say something or I got a moment to say something, you didn't want to even hear it. You just decided to focus on whatever was happening on your phone.
Zoned you out.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was, and I just went ding ding, you know, and I spoke to someone else, and they were like, well, they lack emotional immaturity. They lack emotional IQ virtually. And and I thought about it, and I mulled it over, and I looked it up, and I studied it to an extent, and I said, holy crap, boy, are you right. This guy's a freaking dummy. I mean, he's in his mid to late 30s, maybe even early 40s, and it was just clueless. So,
Well, I just wanted to really quick give you the definition of immaturity. It's the ability to manage emotions in a healthy way. Also, difficulty regulating emotions, lack of empathy, and avoiding responsibility. We know plenty of people like that in our lives. It, I think sometimes emotional wounds from the past maybe makes them
I don't. I mean, well,
not
maybe,
mature emotionally. They're held back due to some past trauma, maybe.
or they're just
They're just ill.
no. I'm not even gonna say that.
Mm.
Or they're just like I said, they're clueless and they've been spoiled their whole lives, and they were the whole focus of everything. And now they when it's the turn, when they're in the real world, they forget that hey, it's not all about them. There's other things going on.
It could also be like a social thing. Like they weren't. What was that saying that we used to say? Oh, she's green. She's not.
Well, it's immature.
Yeah,
There's
but
no
there was also
experience.
something else we would say. She was sheltered, or he, she, whoever. They're sheltered. They weren't socially. Um, they wouldn't interact with people. You know what I'm saying? Socially, they were.
What, hermits?
Well, I say hermits, but a lot of people, especially nowadays, they don't need to social. They don't have that social interaction we used to back in the day. Like right now, people work from home. They work remotely or hybrid, whatever. People are like stuck their heads or their eyes glued to their phones or their screens, so they don't need to interact socially with other people. And I think that's also emotional immaturity. Like they don't know how to act with other people. Am I making any sense?
No, you are, because I, I know I said this a number of years ago, and even during the pandemic, I said, man, as a society, we're screwed, just because it was already bad enough that everybody was on their phone or on screens, and they weren't engaging with one
Yeah.
another.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hit, and the kids alone, everything school was on the screen,
Yeah.
and they were watching YouTube or whatever,
It's like,
TikToks or something.
yeah, it's like underdeveloped emotional and social skills.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's, let's take, for instance, we've spoken about this before. When Xavier was attacked, right?
Yeah.
And I called a friend of mine and I said, listen, he was jumped from behind, after school or whatever it was. And the first thing he said was, look for the video. And I was like, what? He goes, Kev, let me tell you, there's always a video with these kids, because they are so detached from reality that everything, so they don't even realize things are going on in front of them in real life, because everything has been through that lens.
Yeah. And even if it's happening in real life,
Oh, they're still recording.
yeah, they're still looking at it through the lens, like you said, like the screen. Like for instance, we had a layover. We went to Texas for a wedding, and coming back home, right? We had that layover, long layover. We had a really long layover in
Vegas. Yep.
An 11-hour layover, but we made the best of it, and we had a good time. And I wanted to see the fountains, the Bellagio fountains, because the last time we went, I didn't have a chance to see them go off, do their dance. But of course, what is it, that pre thing?
They were having a Formula One race.
Formula One race. So they blocked off the whole front end of the Bellagio. So they were announcing, because I was like, oh, let's go. It's time for the show or the whatever, the performance of the fountains. So we're walking towards the front of the hotel, and someone that works there, they were announcing, oh, to see the fountains, you need to go on either side. You can go on that side or stay here on this side to view it. You're not going to be able to view it from the front of the hotel due to the race car thing. So right there, I got so bummed. But then as soon as it started, I got happy again because they're beautiful. And I pulled out my phone and I started recording. And Kevin goes, babe, you driving me crazy to see these stupid fountains. And now look what you're doing. You're recording it. And I said, yeah, because I want to, remember it. And then I recorded a little longer, and then I turned off the phone. And I'm like, he's right. I should truly enjoy this. Put away my phone. I recorded a few minutes, a couple of seconds or whatever. And then I just started watching it. And it's a lot of us, and I'm a scrapbooker, guys. So I love taking pictures so I can scrapbook them. I like to do journals. I do art journals. I take, pictures, and I like to put them and write stuff about it. But I also forget that I have to also live it, not behind the camera.
You need to be in the moment.
Yes, in the moment. So it's true what you say. These kids are always on the screen, and that stunts them. It stunts them emotionally, everything, skills nowadays. And I hate to put everybody in a box, because it's not everyone, because I know plenty of kids from our friends, family, that are not stunted that way. They're stable, emotionally, mentally, everything. They're stable, great kids, and I'm so proud. But the majority are not like that. I don't know. It's just like they lack so many things. They lack certain emotions. They lack empathy. They avoid responsibility big time.
They're not accountable.
No, not whatsoever. Not
No.
whatsoever.
I mean,
And like I said, I have a feeling some people are like that because of certain things that probably happened to them or still happening. People that are probably, I don't know, unresolved grief, maybe abandonment issues.
yeah, but you know what? Look, we've all I got a great pastor, right? We got a great pastor.
Yes, we do.
All right. And there's a couple years
Love you,
back.
Pastor
No,
June and Pastor Jackie.
well, this is her mom, Pastor Carol.
Oh, Pastor Carol, love you.
And she, it was one day we were there, we were talking about something, and I brought up something from the past.
Pastor Marion.
And,
Sorry, I know my pastor.
and I said, I'm bringing up something from the past. And she gave it a moment, and then she goes, you know something? I'm really tired of all these people complaining about their past.
Yes,
We've
I
all
remember.
been through something. We've all been through something. Enough is enough. And I don't know, I probably have heard it before, but I guess the way she came across,
It stuck with you.
and I just looked at her and I said, crap, she's right.
She's always right.
And I said, she's so right. And I mean, crap, she's right because I was being a fool. And I said, so, and don't get me wrong, there's still days that I dwell on certain things. But I think since then, and I want to say it's about a good 5-6 years, I've said to myself, since that happened, I was like, man, it's about that time. To
Like
let it
going
go
with God,
and,
yes.
and just look forward to what's coming and actually, again, be in the moment, I mean, because, again, we're going back to the emotional immaturity and, from not living reality, just being cold, it's
Yeah.
very
Lack
cold.
of empathy.
No,
Yeah.
lack of empathy. You're just like, dude, you do realize I'm right in front of you, and you're not even taking into consideration. And don't get me wrong, I'm not looking to be babied or coddled, but I'm just saying to myself, you just came to me, spewed whatever you needed to spew as far as how you felt, and now you're turning to me and it's my turn, or I feel like let me contribute, and you're clueless. You're totally detached, you know. And I mean, there's a lot of descriptions for it, from just being stubborn and
Yes.
non-compromising,
Yeah, difficulty in understanding and considering other people's feelings. That's a big one, especially nowadays with the, ooh, with the.
Don't let's not.
Okay,
I know where
we're
you're
not
going.
gonna
Let's
go
not.
into politics, but I think that has a big thing to do with it. Like they have difficulty understanding or considering others' feelings. Point blank.
But that goes both ways.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's like
It goes both ways.
yeah.
Let's be real there. It's everybody. Real quick, it's all two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Okay, and
But if we could just sit down and listen.
well, that's the whole thing. That's why we do a podcast, right? So people can listen. But no, I mean, it's a shame, the fights, the arguments, that's it. I'm never talking to these people again. But
know.
seriously,
Follow because you don't like their views. Well, just keep on scrolling, guys. Just keep on going.
you know what? Don't even scroll. Get off the dang stuff. Have a conversation with somebody. Talk to someone. Actually
But if
find
that
out who
person
they
is
are.
emotionally immature,
Well, maybe
it's
sometimes you need to
difficult.
crack that nut.
I guess.
You need to be like, hey, no, I'm talking to you. What are you doing? Look at me when I'm speaking to you.
But sometimes people like that. Like I have, and I don't want to mention the person because they probably listen to the podcast. But I tried to sit down and speak with this person because they were being looked at a certain way.
Is it your mother?
No,
Is it our sons? Is our sons?
They're being looked at.
It's one of your best friends, right?
Up. No, shut up.
Come on, be honest. Be honest. Come on,
It's
spill
an
the
acquaintance,
tea.
Kevin, that I don't see often. But the point is, this person, I wanted to sit down and let her know why people were thinking a certain way of this person and not wanting to be around this person anymore. And I told them, why? It's because of the way you treat people, you don't consider their feelings. And the person, had outburst. She had an outburst of anger. She just she had this mood swing, like she was fine, and then all of a sudden she wasn't. And I was like, oh, okay, time. I can't,
Ah, didn't take their dose of
no, she
medication.
did not take. I guess people that lack immaturity, emotional immaturity, can't take
Well, not lack it, but
criticism or
they don't have emotional immaturity.
yes,
Not lack.
that lack emotional maturity. They can't take what's the word I'm looking for? They can't take criticism or
Well, they can dish it, but they can't take it because
yes.
they're, from what I understand too, very critical of others. Very, oh,
Yeah.
this and that, and whatever they say or they feel about someone else, that's law, and it could be the slightest thing that maybe the person did
Yeah.
wrong. So there's not even a thought of, well, you know what, maybe they were having a bad day, or maybe they were, or it's yeah, they weren't in the mood. You never know what the reason is, and from that moment forward, that's it. They're done.
Yeah, they cut them off.
Very
Yeah.
critical of them,
Yeah.
and then and then
And the lack of accountability too,
oh, right. Well, that's what
because
we
it's
were
always
saying.
the other person's fault. They're not at fault whatsoever.
Oh yeah. Oh
Well, that
well,
person don't want to talk to me. That's their problem.
yeah.
Like,
Well, look at the other the episode we did regarding bullying when I confronted the bully, and I told
yes,
them,
they
and
deflect.
their
Yeah,
first
they
thing was they
deflect.
deflected big time. They were
Yeah,
like, "Well, you must be going through something." I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm going through the fact that I remember you saying these things to me.
yeah.
But it's pretty funny. It's and you look at them and you're going you really can't receive the feedback, can you?
Mm-hmm.
You just you want to tell me you want to write me up, not even write, what's the word, you want to read me or read whoever, but
Mm-hmm.
God forbid somebody says it to you. And it goes back to, also, I remember saying, um, I tell people, I have a habit of telling the truth, and sometimes it's quite blunt
Yeah.
when I do it.
I always tell people you don't hold back.
I don't have a
You
filter,
want
you
to
say.
ask for his opinion? I'm just letting you know he doesn't hold back. If you want the truth,
And that's the other thing. And I tell people that, and they go, "Oh, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate people telling the truth." I said, "Yeah, you can appreciate it till you're the one that's receiving it."
exactly.
I mean, it is what it is. And the last thing, and I always say this too, is, if you're not my mother, I'm not lying to you.
Yeah.
The only person I ever lied to is my mother, and don't get me wrong, I don't really lie to her. I just, certain things I won't tell her because, of course, I wouldn't want to worry her. But that, again, no, no, I'm not gonna lie to you. Why should I? No, get out of here. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't even lie to you. You know that.
Yep. I also was thinking of people that lack emotional maturity, that are immature emotionally. They also avoid responsibility. For instance, they refuse to take on like significant responsibilities like committed relationships. They can't be in a committed relationship
Yeah, yeah,
because of the emotional immaturity.
yeah.
I mean,
God forbid they have to care for someone else other than themselves.
also their careers, a lot of them.
Oh, the career comes first.
No, like I'm saying, like they don't advance in the career because or due to the emotional
Well,
insecurity,
right. Well,
immaturity.
the emotional intelligence, the emotional
Mm-hmm.
immaturity, because it's of the, whoever's above them, or who's writing, not writing, but who's ever making those decisions,
They
are
see it.
they
Yeah.
go they go, yeah, this person's lacking something here, and
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't put my finger on it just yet, but definitely something's missing, and I don't think they're ready yet. And you and it's a shame, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the mood swings. They probably have mood swings at work, or it's just it affects every aspect in your life if you really think about it.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're unappreciative.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's of you you let's say you do a favor for them, and it's of the fact that it's almost as if they expected you to do it. Well, that's what you're supposed to
Oh,
do for
don't
me.
even get me started with that. And we all know where I'm coming with this one.
Oh yeah,
For
yeah.
instance, I took off from work to take care of my mother. She was sick, and thank God she's in remission. And I remember when I told her, "Mom, you're getting better. I'm gonna start looking for work because times are hard. We all know it. Eggs are almost $10 a dozen, you
10.
people.
Try 15.
Yeah. So let's. I need to go back to work." So she lost her ever loving mind. She was like, "No, you're staying here taking care of me. You have to.
You're supposed to.
You're supposed to." I was like, "What?" I lost my ever loving. I was like, "No, excuse me, no. I choose to. I don't have to." Okay. And I remember one time we were in the hospital, and the rehab place that she had to come back before she came back home, she had to go to a rehabilitation center. And even the nurses there, like, because I wanted to go to the restroom, and she's like, "Where are you going? You're leaving me." And then the nurses were like, "She needs to go to the restroom. You should. You're lucky because a lot of these people, they just drop them here and they forget about them. Your daughter's here every day from 9 to 5, and the reason why I would be able to leave at 5 o'clock is because I can't drive at night." Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kevin says I have. What is it that you said? I have
What?
a something license because I can't drive at night.
Oh yeah, you got a junior license because you can't drive it. You can't drive in the
Well,
dark.
okay. So yeah, and my thing is, and then I'm realizing this woman does not realize the sacrifices that everybody, not just me, but everybody else around her are sacrificing for her. She has no sense, I mean, whatsoever. And then talk about mood swings. You tell her something and she'll flip on you.
It's funny because the next thing I was gonna say, as far as the description, was distrustful.
She doesn't trust anybody. Yeah. And then
Yep.
she has that little birdie on her shoulder.
Yeah, the birdie that
Spewing stuff.
I want to pull a slingshot on and smack him with it.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. The distrust. Yes, absolutely.
Very superficial, very unstable.
Yeah.
You know,
there's
it's,
plenty of people that I know like that.
you know, it's oh man.
And the superficial thing, it's like, wow, beautiful women and men. It's just not. I don't want to just say women, but the way they things that they do to their bodies and their faces.
Yeah,
And
well,
I'm like, why?
because
You were so beautiful before.
because they've fallen into the, oh no, I'd rather look good than feel good. You know, and honestly, that's what it is too. I mean, and you know, it's funny you said about, and again, I don't want to keep going back to your mom, but it's also the very easily manipulated,
Yes, very much so.
very easily manipulated. That you're going, and not, and unfortunately, the people that she should listen to, she doesn't.
And you know
It
what's
kills me.
What's so sad? When you said that manipulated, reminded me of someone else I know, and it's like I feel bad because they feel like they have nowhere to go because they're being manipulated by their family, by their friends, by their coworkers, and then I'm like, no, that's not right. Wake up and smell the coffee. You're being manipulated, and they just don't see it. And then if you say something, they get offended, and then they want to cut you off. Just trying to help, letting you know
Yeah,
that's
well.
not right.
You know, a couple of other descriptions are like they're always they are almost impervious. They try to be too tough for their own good because they don't want to show there's a softer side to them because that's not even something that should be registered. You know, and don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting you to cry. I'm not that crying is an issue. I'm just saying that's not what I'm expecting from you.
And then they mock people that do show their feelings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because
Oh
that one person
yeah.
I was telling you, it's like people were like, oh, and then that's when the whole snowflake thing came out. Oh, don't be such a snowflake.
Oh
Or,
yeah, they're all
oh my
snowflakes because God
no.
forbid they say something.
Yeah,
But mind you, again, if it's the other way around, there's an issue.
exactly.
Oh God, it's so freaking funny. Um, and then that it comes down to as well as just they can't respect other opinions.
Mm-hmm.
They really can't. They just they're so, I guess maybe the blinders are on,
Yeah,
or
closed
the
minded. I don't know what it
or
is. And I'm
or
trying to turn it over to that, like saying, this is why they feel like, and you can't tell them not to feel that way.
oh
So
yeah,
they want, no, that's not right. I'm like, yes, it is. You can't tell someone how to feel.
yep,
Oh, well, that's stupid. But
yep. Oh man, I've
I'm
heard
like,
that a few times lately.
yeah, I'm
I've
like,
heard that a
what?
few times, and
I don't
man,
understand people.
I'm gonna tell a quick thing. It's funny. I was at work a couple weeks ago. We had a guest speaker. Unfortunately, I can't remember his name. He has a podcast of his own. He's an Englishman, and he's telling us certain things as far as the workplace and IQ and EQ. And I'm sitting there, and I'm actually starting to laugh to myself, and because of the things he was saying, and I'm going, and I ask a question, or I speak up, and I say, I go, it's funny you say these things because I actually do a few of them. That's why I'm laughing. And
For instance, like what?
to the point that one of the things I said to him was, I felt like there's two types of managers. I've always felt like there were two types of managers. I felt like the one that technically they're sound, they know literally everything from A to Z,
Oh, yeah, you
and
mentioned
that,
that before.
and then there's the other one where they're more in tune with their staff,
Yeah.
and they're and for me, I always felt like I'm more toward that. And I may not know A to Z, like I'll miss M, Q, and S, but for the most part, I can get by.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm reading this book recently that a friend of ours gave us, and I'm reading this one part, and it's talking about emotional intelligence as well, the
Mm-hmm.
EQ, and it mentions would you rather be managed or would you rather be led? And I go, well, I guess that's another way of looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably where I was going with it the entire time, and I didn't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather lead than
Yeah.
just because again, you don't want to be managed. I mean,
Yeah.
you've been in
Oh, I
places,
used to hate
the
helicoptering
micromanagers,
bosses.
the micromanaging and all that.
Oh,
Oh man,
I hated that.
and
Like, if you can't trust me, don't give me the freaking project then.
you know and for me, and again, I'm not trying to boast. I'm not, if I am, if it sounds like I am, whatever. And, but I got to tell you, once I started this job, I took a step back, position wise when I first started, and then when I moved into the position I'm in now, I started thinking, and I'm like, something. I've Over the years, I've realized a couple of things. One, I've been places as well as I've worked with people, and they'll say stuff like when they've left, they go, "I didn't learn anything there. I didn't get anything from that place."
Mm.
So that was one of my first goals. Was at least with my staff, I was like, and that's something I told them. And every year I tell them, let me know who you'd like to sit with, so maybe you might want to learn something else from someone else.
Yeah, I've never had that except in one place, Young and Rubicam, that
Right.
they were literally teaching us and making us better.
Right.
And I'm like, I love companies like that. Okay, yeah, I might learn all this, take all this information, and then just leave you. But I like the fact, I think I stayed there with them that long because of that. Because they taught me a lot and I figured I owed them something. I don't know.
Well, that's a mistake there. Don't ever feel like you owe the job
No,
back.
I mean, I left because I was like, enough is enough. They were taking advantage because I was one of the ones that did know how to do something. And anyway, so yes, emotional immaturity. Sorry, guys. We always squirrel. We always go off topic. I apologize. But yes.
But yeah, so the other thing that I was trying to say that I tend to do, and I make it a point, at least in my own head. I don't actually schedule it,
Mm-hmm.
but every 3 to 4 weeks, I'll speak to the staff one on one. You know, and they're already used to it. I'll call them in, one or two of them. Like even today, I was talking to one of them, and they looked at me and they go, "What did I do wrong?" And I go, come on, you know it's not for that.
The
No,
principal's
I
office.
said, it's not for that. I'm just checking in with you because I just want to see how you're feeling. And they go, well, no, I'm okay. And I'm like, and I know the threads to pull if I really wanted to. I can certainly, because they've been with me long enough, and I can certainly pull certain threads to make them speak about certain things that maybe they normally wouldn't speak about with most people. But but yeah, I just want to make sure I honestly care for them, and I want to make sure they're okay. And even and not just my staff. I'll people start and they'll tend to sit with me for a bit, and I have a spiel that I give, and one of the things I tell them is there's a chair there if you ever feel a certain way for that day, because trust me, we all go through it. You're more than welcome to come in. You could sit there. You can either tell me what's going on, or you can just tell me it's one of those days, and I'm good with that. And I just want them to feel like, hey, it's not just, oh, I'm coming here doing a job, I'm getting paid. I mean, hey, if that's how you want to live, or you want to not even live, but if that's how you want to work, that's fine by me. But I got to tell you, I don't think there's a person that I've worked with, at least not at this job, that hasn't come in at some point. And I'm just there, and again, and they look at me and they're like, how do you do that? I go, it is what it is. Again, people sometimes they don't even realize they need to talk about something. And I try to do my best to be there. And I remember telling you this at one point, and I told this to our guest speaker the other day at the job, and I said to him, that you tend to, and I asked him for advice as well. I said, yeah, what do you do once you've become that person that they go to and again, it's not like I don't want to do it anymore. What do you do when it can be quite heavy,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah. We
I
had that conversation. Yeah.
yeah, and you go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I told him, I remember when I used to work at a medical and dental center, I used to interpret for a psychiatrist or therapist. I forgot what she was. But the point is, I used to interpret for her throughout her, what is it, sessions? Yeah. And the horrible things, guys, I used to hear. And at the end of the session, I would go back to my office and do whatever I had to do. And then at the end of the day, she's like, "You okay?" And I was like, "No, how do you do this? Like, this is only a couple of sessions." And I'm like, she goes, "Yeah, you take things to heart. You wear your heart in your sleeve, and you got to learn how to let things go. You got to leave work things at work and then go home lighter." And it was something that I couldn't do. I couldn't turn off. Same thing when I was studying to become a missionary. I'm like, empath. I don't know. A lot of my friends says like, "Oh, you're probably like an empath. You feel too much." And I'm like, "Well, how do you turn that off?" I'm like, it's hard for me to just turn that off. If someone comes to me and there's, they dump it all on you. I'm not saying they dump, but they trust you, and they feel better when they speak to you. But then what do you do with all of that on you on top of all your stuff?
Yeah.
What did the
He
speaker
honestly,
say?
he honestly didn't even have an answer for me.
Oh wow.
He didn't
Well,
have an answer for me.
that's what my doctor told me. She
And I,
goes, "You have to leave it at work. Don't
yeah.
bring it home with you."
He, the only thing I said to him was, I said, my wife was worried about this, and um, I said, the only thing I could think of doing myself, but maybe there's something else, is just going, like I tell the staff as well, if they're feeling a certain way, go take a walk, get some water, splash some water on your face, literally cleanse yourself if you can. Figuratively cleanse yourself, and literally with some water, and splash some water on your face, and just, trying to get that heaviness. You know what I mean? It's not, and again, I'm not trying to discourage anyone from speaking.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, this is what you do, babe. You're good at it. You are. I mean, if not, they wouldn't keep on coming back. And you love them. I mean, guys, if you're listening from work, I feel like I know all of you. I'm horrible with names, so Just want to let you know, I don't remember your names, but I remember your faces and the stories that Kevin tells me about you. But he
Not the
truly,
personal. I don't tell them.
no,
Tell her the
nothing
personal stuff.
personal. It's just like, cool stuff, and how much he loves you guys, and how much he looks up to you guys. It's like you're like his kids.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard. But hopefully they're not emotionally
Immature.
immature. Because they're not, you probably would kick them out.
Yeah. Yeah. They've come a long way, and it's a nice time. Um,
Well, I think this is the end of the podcast.
well, the
Or
end of
do you
the
have anything?
episode, not the
Of
podcast.
of this episode, sorry. Um, we just wanted to say a great big thank you to everyone that's listening. We just want to say we really are honored that you take time out of your busy schedules, your busy lives to listen to what we have to say. Probably nonsense, it's probably not, but we felt like we needed to say some certain things and our opinions. And please tell us your opinions about what we said, and maybe comment, share, follow, do all those great things to help us out. Once again, thank you and goodbye.
So thank you for listening to Kev.
And Lil,
Have we met? And here's hoping you have better relationships in your life. Goodbye.
Goodbye.